Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video, and today I will be doing the Batman movie review. I did the just my general thought video not too long ago. You guys could go look at that. There's an analog at the top there, or whatever they call that thing, on the top of the video here that you'll probably see appear somewhere. But today I'm doing the spoilers, so this will be spoilers. And also, I'm joined to do this special review with Jedi Bender, who will be here to do the review with me for this. How you doing?
Good, man. Good to be here.
Alright, so yes, this is a quite interesting movie. It is close to 3 hours, technically 2:45, not counting the credits. Long movie, but nonetheless a very, very good movie. I was worried about this movie going in because I wasn't sure how this was gonna go with this, and I was really hoping that we would get a good Batman movie. And I thought we did get a great Batman movie. It was great. I guess I guess it's like it's in second place behind the Spider-Man movie for the money that came out on opening week. But it's doing very well, and I got to see it. I know you had said that you actually have now since seen it twice now, Jedi Bender, right?
I have, yes. I saw it. I actually saw it last week, opening night, Thursday night last week, and I saw it this past Monday. And the experience was even better the second time around. I think that is the one thing I would like to encourage people is don't just see it once, see it multiple times to really give your kind of generalized, conclusive thoughts on it, because it's a movie that is definitely making you think and rethink about what Batman is.
Yes, and again, it is it's different. It's different from the other movies. But
Yes,
I think it's a very good movie. I don't think it's the best Batman movie of all time, like for cinematic movies, because obviously there's a lot of movies to compare it to if you're going to compare it in that situation. But if you're comparing it just as a general Batman movie, this is a great Batman movie, so you don't have to worry about it like not being a good Batman movie, because it is a great Batman movie. But if you're going to compare it to multiple different Batman, I mean, we got multiple different Batman movies to compare, then yeah, you're going to have to compare your favorites to your other favorites. But this is a great, I thought this was a good Batman movie. I think it was a great Batman
yeah,
movie for what it was. And
yeah, no,
yeah,
absolutely.
so I guess we just start when the video or when the movie starts up. Movie starts up. It's like I said in my analyzing the trailer earlier, it is a gritty. It felt like a rated R movie going in, and it kind of has that element to it, even though it's a PG-13 movie. It has that element to it because it's very dark. Not that other Batman movies haven't been dark. This movie is extremely dark. It emphasizes that to its darkness as much as it can possibly do it. And it doesn't it starts off right away, right where the opening scene is. They do that narration, and you got the guy who we know later on as Riddler. He comes right in, and he takes out like they have like they start this whole thing out with the whole mayor debate thing. Like the mayor is like watching, I guess, his debate with the person who's running against him. And that's where he's like calling him, like, as I guess the polls were like tied up or whatever, and so he's like calling him up, and then like that's when the Riddler comes right in, and is like he get blunt force trauma, like knocks him out, and then tapes him up like with the duct tape, and that is where this whole thing starts. Is like, holy crap, like they're right into it, like they're getting right into the whole thing with it. And it was a pretty good opening scene for where they were going with it, for the villain establishment. Um, then of course we get to see Batman from the I guess I don't know if you call him I mean, because Joker's not really in this, but Joker like masky face paint gang, I guess, or whatever. And there's the one guy that's half like face paint, and he I guess is hesitating for stuff, but they all basically gain up on this one guy on the bus after they leave the bus stop, and like Batman, that's when Batman makes his appearance, and he just beats the crud out of them all. And that was I thought that was a really impactful scene to get right into it, to debut Batman, and to establish his dominance. And they did the narration of fear. There was the fear whole aspect of it, where everyone's like looking at where he's at and whatnot. That was a pretty good aspect of it. What are you thinking on uh, these aspects of these scenes?
The aspect, just everything that you're saying, and just seeing it the first time, it definitely took me by surprise. I knew that they said that this was going to be a very different opening than anything we've seen before in terms of Batman films or even comic book films in general, and I very much enjoyed it. I like that it kind of starts off and it sets the tone, but it also sets up, like you not only brought up, is it sets up who the hero is and who the antagonist is and how they're so connected with each other, with Riddler kind of assassinating the mayor of Gotham City, and with Batman assaulting, going very hard on low life criminals, not giving them a second chance to basically uh, take their asses down. There's no holding back with him. I loved this opening, and the narration too. Like you said, it's straight out of a Batman book. I've been wanting to see Batman style narration in live action media for a long time. So I'm very happy that we got that. And yeah, this straight up sets the mood, and it gives you an idea of what you're in for. And I love how distinct it is. It's not afraid to tell you or show you what you're getting yourself into. There's no hiding anything here. Once you see what happens, the rest of the film is very much like this. It keeps this energy going for it.
Yeah, and so they move along. Um, that is after this all occurs. This is where they eventually get to the point where you see Batman actually is like with Commissioner Gordon, because that's when they discover the bodies too. And this is where they bring it. Well, actually, I think the wasn't the uh well, I think there was the one guy first. There was the one scene with the pumpkin guy where he gets run over, but I think Batman's not actually there for that.
Yeah, no, that's just to establish the
Yeah,
criminals being afraid of the
yeah,
shadows
that
because
was
they
also
think
there.
he's there.
Yeah, that was also there as well. But they get to the scene with Commissioner Gordon, and that's where Commissioner Gordon comes in, and he brings Batman in to basically assess the murder of the mayor. And he's got like this camera in his eye lens or whatever, so he can so he can record all this evidence that he needs. And so then when Commissioner Gordon brings him in, he's like, "You ain't gonna." One of the cops is like, "You ain't gonna bring him in. He is not a cop or whatever." And then of course like his superior comes in, and he's just not having it. He's just pissed off. He's like, "You can't bring this guy, and I want him out now. I want him out now. He freaking could be accessory." And this is where we see the card from Riddler, and he's like telling him like the riddle and stuff, and it's to Batman. And so this is where we get the plot going, for Batman having to go up against Riddler. But so he gets kicked out, but obviously, he just goes back to his his hideout, and the Batcave. And that Batman, he obviously starts investigating himself with the evidence he has. Um and obviously we're seeing this whole thing with Commissioner Gordon, Batman. They're obviously on the same page. Obviously the police department is not, because as we all know, the police department seems to be a bit corrupt, and that's going to be the emphasis of this whole movie. but we find that out much later of how corrupt it is. But so he goes back and does the investigation. You got Alfred there, and they're he's talking up to him, about things that he should be doing, like as just as Bruce Wayne. And Batman is just not having it. Batman is like committed to like doing this detective work and trying to figure it out. And of course Alfred eventually comes around and he actually helps trying to decipher it while he is trying to figure out. And I thought this was, to impact what direction Batman is going in, because again, this Batman is much different than some of the other Batmans we've seen in cinema. This Batman is more of a he's more of a detective. Not that the other ones aren't detectives, but this one this Batman, the Robert Pattinson's Batman, they focus more strictly on the detective work more than anything else for Batman, which is interesting. It's good, I think, to do a little different, because again, he is a detective, so you can get away with that. But it is different from what the other Batmans have done. So I thought it was quite interesting to establish this here.
Yeah, no, me too. I would though kind of disagree. At least on there wasn't that much detective. That the past Batmans didn't have detective work in the past. I mean, they
Oh,
kind
they
of
did have
did
detective
it.
works. It's just this
They
one had more. I
Yeah,
thought this one
yeah, no,
emphasized it
this one
more.
does lean heavily, heavily into it. It's just the past Batman films kind of had this thing where they had their own interpretation of what Batman was, and again, there wasn't that much detective work in them because that wasn't what they were going for. So, but they did have some basic detective knowledge in that aspect. But here, it's very much okay. His mind is sharp, just like his body, and I do like how, yeah, here it's very much straightforward. He is more of an advanced detective than anybody on the police force in Gotham City, and I like how we have ways of showing that. Like it's not just things that he sees. Like he's basically looking around. He's reviewing. He's looking around to review evidence later, but he's also very much two steps ahead of everybody around him. Like he's able to figure out the first riddle immediately after taking some time to really process it. And yeah, no, I did. I also just love the idea that this is a Bruce Wayne who is very committed to being Batman, that he neglects the actual Bruce Wayne aspect of his personality, and he even says in the film he hasn't slept. He's not sleeping. And it's getting to the point where he has to watch the recordings, not just of the crime scenes, but he's also now having to watch recordings of himself beating up on criminals to remember exactly what he did last night. I like that. I like that this is how committed he is, and this is how far he's willing to go. He's willing to push himself beyond his limits because it's something he believes in for his cause.
Yep. And this leads into him actually. He's now going on his own investigation, obviously, to find out where or who caused this, murder of the mayor. And he sees the pictures, which leads to the introduction of the Penguin. And Penguin, in this continuity, is much different than the Penguins that of the past. Far away from the continuity of him actually having penguins around, or an umbrella.
Yeah, no.
this this penguin.
Well, again, that stuff with the whole being surrounded by other penguins and him kind of being a monster, that was something that was only exclusively established in Tim Burton's film, whereas the actual Penguin character is
Yeah.
not like that at all in the comics. He is a proper
Well, except for the
gentleman. He's a
umbrella thing, he does have the flying
except
umbrella.
yeah, except for the umbrella thing. But he is a man of culture, of stature. He's very sophisticated. He's not just a dumb animal, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, I love the penguin in this.
Yes, this penguin is more of he's more of like a mob leader basically. He's like kind of gang
Yeah,
leader
well,
basically.
he's a mob handler because the film is set so early in the career of Batman. Not everybody is where we expect them to be. Like Penguin is not the sole crime boss of Gotham City, and Gordon is not actually a commissioner. He's a lieutenant, I believe. So everybody is very much
Yes.
not where we expect them to be, and I like that because it kind of gives a new take on okay, here's where they start off as, and by the sequel or third film, here's where they end up in.
Yes. So Batman, he confronts well, he goes to the place, and he asks to speak to them, and of course the guards are like no, and so then he just beats the crap out of them and beats the crap out of everyone as he goes up and to find Penguin. Eventually Penguin just kind of lets himself known to Batman since he's not going to stop. And so then they go into his office, and he basically points out the picture, and of course, Penguin denies all the stuff about the mayor and all the stuff, even though he knows more than he's saying. And eventually, it leads to the Catwoman, who comes in with the money or whatever, the Penguin, and
Yeah.
that leads to him going after her because he, felt that there was something based on her. I guess she was in the picture as well, so she was someone that he then confronted next, and that led to Batman actually literally like watching her, and there was a quite interesting scene of Catwoman. Um, of
Yes.
yes, for watching.
Well, yeah. Well, again, he thinks she's a suspect. And again, like you said, he's able to deduce just from her body language that she knows the person in the photo, and she isn't just somebody who comes in and hands Penguin stuff. No, he deduces very early on that she's more than she seems, and the whole him stalking her bit. It's like okay, it's not meant to be. I can see out of context how it could make him seem like a bit of a peeping tom, but he's basically just tracking her, and he's making sure that his suspicions are correct. I think, but this
Yeah.
is a great introduction to Catwoman, and she is kind of the third pillar of this.
Yes. And so once he confronts her about what was going, because well, actually he actually follows her after she gets dressed up into her Catwoman outfit. um she goes to like I believe it was a bank. Yeah, it was a bank that she.
No, it was back at the scene of the crime.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was a safe, but it was a scene of the crime. She goes to the scene of the crime, and she she opens it with her tools and stuff to break the combination, and Batman says like, "You're pretty good at those combinations." And then they freaking get him. Well, and then he like he gets her and basically confronts her about the whole thing. And there was a police officer there, but they hide, and that then leads to her basically helping him. I guess she was trying to track the cops because there were obviously corrupt cops, as he finds out. And this is what led to them working together. You know, her going back into the club where Penguin is at, and this is where she's trying to like basically help Batman like figure out these dirty cops, and it turns out pretty much most of them are all dirty because they're all there, and they're all basically doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and I think she ended up uh confronting the one DA guy, and I guess he was drunk. From what I got, he had him drunk.
Yes.
He was
Yeah,
drunk.
he was very intoxicated.
Yes, and so he was kind of giving away things that he really shouldn't have been giving away, and so she was just running with it. But then she eventually left because she wanted to know about her friend, because she's basically stealing this money that she stole at the scene of the crime, at the safe. She's doing this all for her friend, um, and so this is why she's doing this. And so when she found out about the tip of that, she then goes to another direction, and Batman is not happy about it. Um, and I believe it got to a point where she eventually like took the cameras off as well once they got into the bath, or she got into the bathroom or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Did I miss something on that?
No, you're correct.
Yeah. So yeah, she got into the bathroom, and she was like, because she's like, no, I gotta do this, and she's like, no, you gotta do this, and like he takes the thing out, and then she basically goes on her own for this, and so then Batman then I believe what Batman did after that was he went to the what was it? He went after because she had left communication, so he was going after the to see where the DA was, because the DA was he was intoxicated, but he went into the car though after that.
Yeah.
Right. Did I miss something in that, or?
No, yeah, you're right. Basically, it is. It's just like it's basically just another kidnapping, essentially.
Basically, yeah. So he goes into the car, or the guy's intoxicated. He goes into the to the car, and that's what led to the he got captured by Riddler. Riddler captured him. Riddler doesn't kill him like he killed the mayor, but he basically just decides to basically hold him hostage.
Yeah.
He basically holds him hostage with the car, and then that leads to the because before that there was a lead up to the funeral, which was the funeral for the mayor. And so the mayor that was running against him was she was there to pay his respects, and this is probably one of the fewest scenes where we actually see Batman in the Bruce Wayne, like just as Bruce Wayne in this, and we get the confrontation from the big cop leader guy that was friends with Bruce Wayne's father. He's there. He introduces Bruce Wayne to some of his buddies, like the guys that were there.
Yes.
I think Penguin was in there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Penguin was there. Yeah, Penguin was there, and there were all his like buddies were there, and he was the he was the architect for the whole thing, and he was saying, oh, how your father saved my life, right at his mansion and whatnot, and so that was the whole thing with the funeral. And then that led to what we were saying about the kidnapping, and that was there was him basically driving in the car, and he was tied up, and he had like stains and stuff like that all over him and whatnot, and he had the phone attached to his hand, and like he had like the thing around his neck. It was like it was really different on how they set that whole thing up. But Riddler basically forced them to solve riddles, which Batman solved two of them for him, and then the third one, he didn't want to answer because it led to his dirtiness as a cop, and so he decided to basically die, and didn't answer the question. So he died, and from the explosion, and this led to people. Oh, Batman got knocked out from this temporarily, and this led to, I guess, the cops basically just like, okay, we're going to capture him, and then Batman wakes up. My question to this, right? Because this is the first thing I thought about this whole scene was like, okay, you have him at the police station. Okay, you have him at the police station. You had ample opportunity to take his goddamn mask off, and you didn't do it. You waited until he started to wake up, and then it's too late because then it's Batman, and Batman's just like, no, you're not taking my mask off, bro.
Yeah, no. Well, Gordon was there, and he probably would have kept them at from doing it. So, I kind of see why. And again, he was only there because trying to treat him.
Yeah. So I just thought that was kind of interesting though. But so he gets up and like he's talking to him like, yo, you freaking screwed up a hostage situation. You screwed up a hostage situation, and so then they started to attack him, and the Batman had to fight back, and they were like, "Oh, great! Now you attacked a cop, so now we can arrest you for that." And like, so then he's like, "Yo, Commissioner Gordon's like, give me 10 minutes with them. Give me 10 minutes with them." And basically they come up with the plan for his escape plan, and so then he tells Batman that you got to give me a swing, you got to punch me, which he does, which apparently hurt according to Commissioner Gordon, but he's technically not a commissioner yet, but he basically tells them that like is like, I thought you were gonna hold back on that. He's like, I did. Batman was like, I did. So I thought that was kind of like, even when it's a weak punch, he still Commissioner Gordon still got hurt from it.
Yes.
Even if it was not that much, but it was still kind of, I thought that was kind of like funny for what it was for a scene. So yeah, that was it's quite interesting to see how this is, because again, as this is going on, we're starting to see a picture of the corruption that's going on through the police, through the mayor, through pretty much all the higher ups, and that's kind of what the emphasis of this is. Not that there isn't that there in Batman, but it's just that they really kind of went all out on this, where it's like everybody's involved with this. It's like, obviously Commissioner Gordon is, the one they establishes, or he's not a commissioner yet, but I'm assuming he's saying that. But he's Gordon is basically like the good one. Like he's like not involved in the corruption, and this also led to what Riddler was saying, or not what Riddler was saying, but like Batman figured it out, like to Commissioner Gordon, the reason why they ain't going after you is because you're not dirty, you're not corrupt like all these other people are, and so this is why he's going after them. Riddler made the video talking about this. Yeah, he did like the feed online or whatever, saying that all this corruption, all these lies. He held someone up with the cage at one point, like he was doing stuff. Really established that, Riddler, he's going after these guys that, they're just bad. Like, they're bad people that are in positions of power. And this is what the emphasis of what Riddler was doing. And I thought it was really interesting how they went about this. Again, Riddler's outfit was kind of out there. It was kind of different from what he's done in past the classic question mark green. Not there was question marks in there, but it was like not what I'm not what I'm used to for a Riddler character. But this is
Yeah.
what they went for him. Just kind of more of a they kind of went with just a common approach to Riddler more than a fancier version of Riddler like he normally is portrayed, which I just thought was kind of different. It was kind of interesting that way they portrayed him with the mask the way it was and the occasional question marks, but again, you don't really get the green. It's a green mask, but everything else is just
Yeah.
like
Well, it's
totally
made
different.
of green. It's mostly green, but yeah, no, it's not the classic jacket. I mean, again, he's very much meant to be kind of a zodiac kind of color in this. You know, it's not traditional theatrical comic book style costumes for this. It's um, somewhat more, excuse me, grounded in how it takes the approach. It makes them feel like, okay, this is probably how they would go about portraying themselves in this world.
Yeah, and so they get into this well with Batman and Catwoman. There was a lot of flirting and with and Catwoman, she obviously she was trying to steal um more money in this with a cheesy mask from Penguin. Like she got to the scene where it was she tried to steal the money from the car, and of course Penguin was pissed off about that. There was the chase on that. Batman eventually comes in, but it leads to them. It led to them not being able to uh, get where it didn't he wasn't able to retrieve it because Batman had confronted it, and I believe that was where the scene was where they eventually got to the chase, which was in the car scene
Yes.
with the Batmobile, which at this point in the movie we hadn't seen the Batmobile. He just had like a cheesy motorcycle the whole time, and I was like, when are we gonna see the vehicle? When are we gonna see like you're not gonna do a Batman like move like I was at that because I think that was an hour in at that point where there was no Batmobile once in this movie, and I'm like, you are not gonna have a whole Batman movie without the goddamn Batmobile in this movie, and
Yeah.
then it
Yeah.
finally happened. It's
Yeah.
like
No. It's a matter of patience, my guy. It's a matter of patience. That's all.
and so this was probably one of the best scenes in the movie, which kept the action really up to the scale because again you get Penguin, you got the car chase, Batman chasing him down, because he knows more on what he's saying, and they chase him down. Just a lot of flipping the cars, and Penguin thought he had him gone when he did the with the trucks. He collided with the trucks, but Batman outwitted it and got out of there, and then got him down, and then Batman just like slowly gets up to him as he's looked over, and then they take him to the place, and they tie him up. And so this is the point in the movie where they're trying to figure out like what are we gonna do, and about Riddler and how they're gonna get to him. And they got more information from him, from the previous riddles, and he's like, this makes no sense. This is not the bird I would be a part of. And then so they started suspecting other things, and then I believe this is the part where they did the computer thing, and they
Yeah, he communicates. It turns out that the
he
website that Riddler has, and he basically Batman communicates with him and asking him questions, and Riddler basically the whole point of this scene is he's telling him you'll figure things out, but Riddler is kind of telling us that Penguin is not the suspect that they thought he was. He's not even a part of this whole puzzle piece. So he sends them by a riddle to the Wayne Manor orphanage that he grew up in for the next clue reveal on who he's going after.
And so, because of that, that leads to him like orphan, and he's like goodbye, and this led to him figuring out that he's going after him. Of course, and this is gonna get more question marks on this because we'll get address that later in the later in this review. But at this point in the movie, Riddler is going after Bruce Wayne, not Batman. But he says in the letter, which Alfred gets the letter because Alfred like is there and Bruce Wayne is not because Bruce Wayne is Batman, so Batman is in a completely different area. And so Alfred opens it up, and he gets hit with it. And of course, this is actually with the bomb. And this actually turns in because Bruce Wayne finds out about this like an hour too late, and so he calls up, his maid's there, and he's like, "Yeah, it already happened, and it was terrible." And I'm just at that point, I'm surprised she didn't ask him like, "How would you have known that?" or something. But no, she doesn't say anything about that. And it's like they go after, um, or he goes back there. The way it was originally described, it felt like that he was probably gonna die. But then, of course, we find out later that Alfred does survive. It's kind of interesting because I thought for sure the bomb, like the way the bomb was right to his face, that would have been enough to kill him. But apparently, this is a Hollywood movie, so he lives. Alfred lives. In this.
Yeah, no, like straight up. But no, yeah, and then this kind of leads into one of my many favorite things about this film is Bruce Wayne is trying to figure out the riddle that he means. Like what are the sins of his father that Riddler is talking about, and kind of goes, and but then after he figures it out, kind of, then he actually goes to Catwoman, and Catwoman is just saying, "Hey, I found the guy who was responsible for the disappearance of my friend. I need you to help me when the time comes." He says, "Okay." And then it leads back to him in the cave, and this is where the revelation of what the sins of the father Riddler was talking about, because it's revealed on the news that it turns out that his father, Thomas Wayne, while running for mayor, information was going to be leaked to the public that um, that Martha Wayne, Bruce's mother, was and was basically an was institutionalized in Arkham Asylum because she had a very traumatic experience with her father being killed by her mother, and then her mother turning a gun on herself. And Thomas was trying to hide it from the public, and a reporter was going to leak it. So it's reported that Thomas hired Falcone to kill the mugger, and this kind of puts Bruce in a state of shock because he thought his parents were good people. He didn't know that his father would do this, and he didn't know that his mother suffered traumatic experience like this.
Yes, and that was very very powerful, and this is where he leads to him going to Alfred, who's still in the hospital at this point, and he basically explains to him that no, he was not going to do that. That was, this was something that was, that they basically, they basically the corruption and the stuff with
yeah, Falcone.
Falcone.
He tells him that Falcone lied basically because there was a scene before this that Bruce goes to Falcone, and Falcone is manipulating Bruce into thinking it is true, but Alfred's like, no, that wasn't true. Your father actually didn't tell him to do that. He did go to him and but he never told him to kill the guy, to kill anybody. And when he found out he did, he was going to go to the cops and tell them everything.
Yeah, and
Insinuated by Alfred that Carmine just put cash into some random mugger's possession, only that mugger to go and kill the Waynes.
yes, and that's what led to them dying in this movie um by random people.
Yes.
You know. So yeah, that was very very powerful scene there. And we find out more, even more dirty stuff about Balcony later on. And
Yeah.
that leads to the confrontation of, once again, Batman and Catwoman, who are now like they're doing the whole thing with the kiss, and I believe that was they did the kiss scene there, and then that was led to the reveal of what she wanted to do, and she wanted to go after Falcone because of the fact that that was her father. That was her father, and they left her as an orphan, and Falcone didn't give a damn about her. Right? That was where that scene was set
Yeah.
up. Um, and so she's like going after him, and that's where she's like getting into the place. She's walking into the place, and she is just kind of like all distraught about the person, her friend or whatever. And that is just bait, because obviously she knows what she wants to do. And then she is like wanting a tissue or something, and then someone else comes in, and that's when he goes into the other room, and then this would leads to her following him, and this is where Falcone finds out about her, because he tries to take her out, or she tries to take him out with the gun, and that is where he tells her, what you did, and so I believe that was where she tried to do a couple of rounds, and then that what was it?
Yeah.
There was the scene because then she got to a point where she was distracted, and then that led to Falcone trying to like take her out, right?
Yeah. Basically, she basically just fumbled. She got Falcone surprised her. He's trying to strangle her, and Bruce he gets the upper hand on Falcone. Actually, no. The reason why she got distracted and didn't kill him right then and there is Bruce was able to get in and cut the power to stop her from doing it. But yeah, Bruce saves her. He basically just tells her, like, look, this isn't the way. You don't have to do this. And she drops the gun, and she just lets Bruce take Falcone into custody.
Yes, and also this was also the recording too, the leaked, I believe it was the USB recording of them that was also leaked to the news. And that's what led to them being wanting to arrest him as well, because then
Yeah.
he drags them out. He's dragging him out, and he's all cocky and like, oh, I'll be out, the cops are all on my side or whatever. And then he goes out to the door outside, and then he sees all the cops are basically against him and ready to arrest him and whatnot. So, yeah, that kind of turned for the worse for him. And he's all cocky still, and he's like, oh, I'll be out in no time and whatnot. And then that's what led to, it seemed like, because he was talking trash to Penguin, but it looked like Penguin was going to do something. But then it ended up Penguin didn't do anything.
No, he didn't.
Yeah. And so then what ended up happening was that Riddler sniped them, and so then they had to go after Riddler. Police went after Riddler. Batman went after him first, but he got out of there, and so then the police go after him. But then someone said that they seen him at the I think it was like at a coffee shop, Was that a coffee
Yeah,
shop?
yeah. He was at a coffee shop too.
Yeah, and so he's getting like I guess some coffee, he had ordered something, and they just bring it right on him. He's put your hands up. He puts his hands up slowly, not really caring, and then they just like smack him down to the the friggin' table, and they take him into custody. Batman, or he's institutionalized. They put him at Arkham Asylum, and
Yes.
he is confronted. Batman interrogates him, and pretty much Batman kind of gets really nowhere with him. He does realize, because Riddler kind of tells him, "Oh, you only thought about that. There's more than that, basically, in there." And he basically had this whole setup of like bombs and followers and stuff like that that they weren't aware of, and possibly flooding uh, uh, Gotham. So yeah, Batman didn't see this, and so Batman's just like pissed off. He's like, "Grr!" He punches he was punching the glass or whatever, and he can't get it to break because he wants to like beat him up so badly, but he can't do it. And oh my god, it was just
Yeah.
that was like a
Yeah.
emotional scene right
No.
there. And so then after that, that is where the mayor, or the mayor elect, the person who's running for mayor is now mayor elect. She is elected. Obviously, I mean, it was. I mean, the other guy's dead, so I mean, obviously, she's
Yeah.
like the only person that can win it. At that point, but so she wins it. And so it's at Gotham Square Garden. Um, I guess is a parody to
Yes.
Madison Square Garden, even though Gotham is in New Jersey. Um, but so they they go to Gotham Square Garden, where the mayor, or the mayor elect, is going to do her speech or whatever, and
Yeah.
basically,
To try and calm the citizens down after it's
yeah,
revealed that bombs have gone off and a flood has begun, and
yeah,
yeah,
and
she's just trying to calm people down.
Gordon's like telling her like, don't go out there, don't go out there, that you're in danger and whatnot. And she's like, no, I gotta calm them down. She goes to the podium. First thing, the freaking one of the followers like shoots her right in the that's like, in the side of the stomach
Mm-hmm.
there. Um, she does survive. She doesn't die from this because it wasn't a fatal wound. But
No.
just kind of not probably the brightest idea from her to have done that when there's
No.
like guns coming out right there. But Gordon immediately tries to tend to her, and tries to tend to her, and the other people are tending to her. And then after that, I mean, the flood's coming in. They got, guns going off. Batman's got to take these guys down. Batgirl, or not Batgirl, Catwoman is in there
Yes.
fighting, as well as trying to take down these goons. Um, they eventually get to the point where they get the upper hand, but there is a point in the scene where it looks like Batman is about to get defeated um, by one of the guys, and Catwoman comes to his rescue, and saves him from the one person. But then at that point, she is then in danger again, and so Batman, like because he's like dazed or whatever, and he's like barely keep his eyes open, so he actually has to use, I guess, a syringe, like to basically jumpstart him from staying awake,
Yeah.
and that
Basically, it's a shot of adrenaline, I would
yeah,
assume.
shot of adrenaline, yeah. And he just like starts like punching, but and then Gordon has to like get in and pull him out because it was that like intense. It was that whole intense of a punch, of a beating of him, and then they Gordon pulls off the mask and is like, what are you supposed to be? And he's just kind of laughs. He's just like a Riddler follower, but he just kind of laughs about the whole thing. And
Yes.
you know, that's where they clear it up, and pretty much they after that Batman basically goes on the cable, I guess. Like I don't know why he did this, but he went on the cable and then
He's
he just
basically
cut
there's
it.
an electric cable that's swinging back and forth, and it's about to make contact with the water below with the citizens, and if
Oh,
it
okay,
touches
yeah.
the water,
All right,
yeah.
yeah,
So
that makes sense.
he wanted to take out that cable to make sure it wouldn't electrocute people, and
Oh.
then go down there,
I thought he
open up
was
a
I
flare,
thought he
and
was actually just going down there. I thought he was just randomly just going down there, and that's why he cut the cable that way. But no, that makes sense. That yeah, he that because that would conduct electricity. So yeah, that would make sense. And
yeah,
after that, after he goes down the water, he gets up after a couple seconds, and then this is where the kids, he rescues the kids or whatever. He rescues them all to safety. And then
yeah,
after that, they go to, I guess, this is where they skip it, right? This is where they skip and they go to basically they have the National Guard over there now, and the National Guard's over there, and they're basically trying to rescue people, because it's kind of flooded in most parts in Gotham now, and so they're just Batman is kind of trying to assist like this one girl who's like needs to be strapped up and go on a helicopter or whatever, and he's like kind of trying to say give it it's okay and so eventually the person lets go, and she goes up to the helicopter. So that's kind of
yes,
and there's narration for that as well. She he trying to get everyone to be calm about the situation despite what happened with Gotham. I believe there was there was a brief speech with the mayor. The mayor was like all she was tied, she was all patched up or whatever, and there was a whole
yeah,
thing
giving the city hope and all that, and
the new
even in
mayor.
Bruce's narration, like he wants to be better, and he doesn't want to be an agent anymore. He wants to bring hope into people.
Yes. And so that then leads to I believe after that that was what led to the Catwoman and Batman have their like kind of hurrah at the end there, where she's basically on a totally different perspective than he is, where she is basically like she wants to get out of this place because she says it's never gonna really change. It's there's always gonna be some type of corruption in there, and you just leave and kind of do something different, and that's why she's still I guess gonna rob more places for money, and Batman's just like nope, I gotta do this, I gotta be committed to this, and so they both ride into their motorcycles together for a little bit shortly after this, and then they just eventually go their separate ways. Um, and
Yeah,
that's I believe that was after that that was pretty
that's
much
it.
that's where it ends. And then at that point, it's just the villains. You got Riddler, who is he is talking to somebody. He's talking to somebody.
Wink, wink.
We don't know exactly who it is.
Oh, well, we know exactly who it is, but it's best we not say.
We don't know exactly who it is, so to speak, but um it is setting up, I guess, for whatever they plan for a sequel. Obviously, there's gonna be a sequel. I mean, it's already
Yeah,
got like 200 million in the first week, so there's gonna be a
yeah.
sequel. But they have it planned for what they were going to want to do here,
Mhm.
and so he's talking to the guy, and Riddler, he's explaining this, and he's explaining what he did good, but some of the wrong things he did, and laugh. He's got that laugh going on, um,
Mhm.
to people that don't know who it is by now. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah. So he does
That's
his
it.
speech, and that's kind of it. They do the credits. There really wasn't an ending scene. I mean, I guess that really was. They just did it before the credits began. I did think they did that little kind of funny thing bit at troll at the end where they used Riddler's computer thing and said goodbye at the end. If you guys stayed that long for the credits, I always do just in case if there is an actual cutscene, because it seems like always with
Yeah.
these movies nowadays they make people go through the credits for the cutscenes, but for here they didn't really do that. They kind of just did a troll thing, and they did their little ending bit before the credits, which was kind of opposite than what we normally
Mhm.
see. But um, I thought it was a really good movie. Is in my opinion, is this the greatest Batman cinematic movie of all time? In my opinion, no. I would still have Batman '89 as the best, as well as the obviously the second would be the sequel, um, Batman Return. I'll always say those are the best because it's just well done for what it was. But was this a great Batman movie? Yes, it was a great Batman movie. I enjoyed it. Even though I know there's some people that had some issues with the slow pacing of this movie, I don't really think it really had the slow pacing as a lot of people were interpreting as it is, because there was enough of the detective kind of slowing stuff down, but then also you had those scenes, those fight scenes that would come in between to keep your interest in it, um, as well as he trying to figure out what was going on with Riddler throughout the movie.
Mhm.
The obviously the Batmobile scene with Penguin, the ending climatic scene I thought was very well done. They went all out on that scene, I thought, and it kept you interested. I think it was a great Batman movie, and I'm glad it's making money because Warner Brothers isn't really doing very well lately when it comes to superhero movies. And this really definitely will help that at least something is working right now. But
Yes.
um, I was very happy with it. I would give it if I was giving it out of 10, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Um, it was a great movie. It was an enjoyable movie. Obviously not big on most of the costumes, but overall that really doesn't hurt the product, sell the product of the movie. But I like the movie. Again, if I had to compare it to other Batman movies, I mean, it's gonna be hard to judge it. Because there's so many to choose from that are so good. Obviously, you're comparing the Dark Knights, you're comparing the original trilogies. It's going to be very
Yeah.
hard
No.
to compare it on there. But if you're comparing just the film itself, it is a great movie, and I different interpretation, not a complete copy from the other ones. It kind of goes into its own thing, own story mode, from another Batman continuity, and it does very well for itself. I liked it, and I enjoyed it. What did you think about the movie? I mean, where would you put it at in score?
I've pretty much gone on record, kind of on social media by saying that I do agree that this is the best Batman movie ever made. I do think it is my favorite, my personal favorite Batman film of all time. I do put it above everything else. Now, in terms of is it the best Batman movie overall? Like, no, I would still say Mask of the Phantasm. It is still my personal favorite Batman film of all time. But this is my
But
favorite live action Batman
just
film
for
of all
yeah,
time.
because I was just talking about live action. I wasn't necessarily talking about the
Yeah,
animated stuff. If we would get into the animated
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
we
No,
could
no, no.
go into way
Well, I
different
mean,
arguments for that.
that one does kind of count because that one was a theatrical. So I guess if I just, but no, in terms of all the live action ones,
Yeah,
I would say that this is my personal favorite. It is
yeah.
the best. Although there are things that I can agree with people who, and I can see why they wouldn't put this at their number one. Like, because again, like I've already seen comparisons with this, The Dark Knight, and Batman Begins, because again, there were things to compare and contrast, but in my personal opinion, I love this film. I've seen it twice. I want to see it again and again, and I do think it is now the new gold standard for how Batman should be done in media. You don't need to just have it be about making him look theatrically cool or having him be in a realistic city. No, it really is. You can go and you can have his entire world and what he is as a character represented in a film as well. But yes, this is a great Batman film. I cannot get enough of it. And where would I put it? I did have it in an 8 out of 10 originally when I first saw it, but that was only because I wanted to make sure that what I was feeling was something that could justify a second go around and not just something that was first time experience. So that's why I really think it's important that you do see this film as many times as you can, because something may change. It will either go up or it will either go down. It really all depends on you. But right now, I would say that it is a 9 out of 10 experience for me. I think it is the best Batman film to date, and it's a great way to keep the character alive in live action, and I'm so happy that the character is back, because it has actually been a decade since the last Batman solo film, so I'm glad that we have it here.
Yeah, but yeah, if we're comparing the theatrical animation movies, then that's a whole thing. I was just comparing the live action Batmans in general, but obviously with the animations, there would have to be a whole different conversation for that, because obviously there was a lot of animated Batman movie ones that I would obviously prefer over the live action ones, but comparing just for the live action, that's just kind of where I am at with the original ones, and not just because it's original, it's just that because I just thought those ones were the ones that I really liked and portrayed.
It's a sense of nostalgia.
Yeah, it's that. Well, it's not just that. It's just that it's also it's just how I really liked the Batman to be. Not to again this one, but again in every different. And again, we've said this earlier. In every different live action Batman movie, they all in a way did their own thing. Even in the Dark Knight one, they didn't do the same thing that Tim Burton did. And that's the same thing with Reese. He didn't do the same thing that the Dark Knight did. They followed their own thing, but still kept it to the core value of what Batman was, but they just did it in a different continuity direction, which is also another good thing, because you don't want them to do the same really necessarily thing, because otherwise it's just going to get old and it's just going to get the same way if you keep doing it that way. So that's another thing too, and I think that's because if this Batman film had been like, for example, like the Dark Knight movies, or like what Tim Burton had done, I don't think it would have been received very well, because I think it would have been just like, oh, this is just the same perception that we're getting from before. I think that made the film better, that they did go into their own into their own direction of the character that they wanted to kind of focus on. They focused more on detective, but also had action there, and they kind of eliminated the Bruce Wayne element as much interaction in this, because there was more of that in the Dark Knight trilogy. But it still kept to it, and that's what I like about it. Good movie for me. It's not gonna be the best for me, but it is to me. I still think it is a great movie. And I do plan on seeing it more. I've only seen it once so far, but I do plan on seeing it. I gotta probably see this at least 3 times, so probably 2 more times. I want to see this, because obviously, when I see these type of films, I want to see them at least 3 times. I've seen Venom 3 times. I got to see this film at least 3 times for my standards. So both Venom films. So I got to see this at least 2 more times. But, again, it is a 3-hour film. So, make sure to plan accordingly on when you're going to watch this, because I got in there at like 5 o'clock, and it was like almost 8:30 when I got out. So it is a haul. It is a haul. It is a haul, but it is worth it because it is a great film. So Yes, I encourage to y'all if you haven't seen it yet to go see it. But yeah, it is pretty much we covered pretty much everything. Is there anything else that you need to talk about it or?
No, that's pretty much it.
Yep. Okay, so that's about it. Comment, rate, make sure to hit the bell for all the latest contents, and the subscribe button. Also, make sure to subscribe to Jedi Bender's YouTube channel. You're still Jedi Bender, right? Or did you change your name again?
No, Saber King.
Or your saber, yeah, your saber too. So check out his channel. That link will be in the description as well. And yeah, comment, rate. Let me know what you guys think of this movie. I'm gonna put this out there. What do you guys think? If you enjoyed this film, do you think this is the greatest live action Batman film of all time, or do you think it's great, but it's still not as up there as the other ones all time? Out of the cartoons, where do you guys stand on this? I'd make sure to let me if you guys are seeing this. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think this is the best live action movie for Batman out of them all? Let me know what you guys think. Because I'd like to know. I'd like to know what people are thinking about, like if they think this is the best or if they think it's great but it's not the best. I'd like to see where more people stand on this. So I'm very intrigued to see that. Let me know, guys, and put that out there. That's about it. I am the SS Ultimate Goku and Jedi Bender. We're out of here. Peace, everybody.